Hello everyone, welcome to this next edition of Market Rubru. Today I have with me a guest from New Delhi who is Ankush Vashisht. He has been in the market since 1993. In fact, one of his first trades, which he did, of course, you can't call it a trade. That time people were only buying for supposedly long term. So that was in 1993. But gradually he started analyzing the market, studying the markets, and then eventually about 5-6 years back, he got hooked onto noiseless charts. And now he is of the firm belief that noise makes no good and good makes no noise. So once he started developing these trading systems on noiseless charts, he has become very active in the market, and he has developed lots of systems for futures, cash delivery, options, and in fact everything which can be traded. So welcome, Ankush. How are you?
Thank you, Abhi sir. Nice talking to you. Last we met in Pune, I think. It's a good environment now. Yes. Thank you.
So we are going to talk about options buying and selling in the right environment. So basically how to identify which is the environment and whether it is right or wrong, right? That is what you are going to talk about.
Absolutely. Sir, आज की date में there are a lot of people who are into the option buying and selling, and you have also last video, in fact, which I saw of yours, there was a big volume jump in the NSEs which you are talking about, right? But more important is that it is important for a retail investor that is this the right environment and what is the right strategy in that environment? Option buying करना है, selling करना है, और क्या environment मेरे पास है जो कि मेरे को favorable result देगा? That's very much important nowadays.
Yeah, so you can go ahead now.
So, AP sir, this is a bit of a gyan. First 2 or 3 slides are bit of a gyan. Here we will talk about the right environment. Believe me or not, if somebody doesn't know this, he should be very careful, and he should first understand the VIX, which is a premium tool, or which is the important tool to gauge the market. India Vix is charted on TradePoint as well as our zone, so anyone can see that. How India Vix is calculated, it's mostly by combining the weighted average of index puts and option, but more important is what it conveys. It conveys the market expectation of volatility, right? Now, India Vix is a measure of volatility, and volatility plays quintessential part in option trading. Because if the VIX is high, that means there is a fear in the market. And if the VIX is low, that means there is a stability in the market. So these two parameters defines how we are going to trade that, and what is the best option strategy which can be employed using forward. Now, lower VIX signifies lower volatility and a stable range for an asset prices. Whenever there is a VIX is low, I think more important is we should all focus on the portfolio and cash buying also, because that should not be missed out, because this is the important part. Although we are in this webinar, we are talking about option buying, but let's not forget the part where the focus should be on the portfolio and cash buying when the VIX is low. And India Vix does not indicate any trend. Although there is a general perception which tells you that when VIX is high, then the market is going down. Yeah, that's important negative correlation which is there between India Vix and Nifty, which is an index for us. But more important is that it only captures rising and falling volatility factors. Now, whenever the VIX is high, that means what are people doing? They are basically looking for protection of their trades. Primarily, I'm saying primarily they are looking for protection of their trades, because let's say if there is an important event, RBI meet tomorrow or a Fed meet tomorrow, or let's say election event which is coming in, I'm not going to sell my entire portfolio and just be in cash for one day and then I will re-enter the trade again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some protections in buying as a put, or maybe selling as a call, whatever is the right environment. And that is an important measure for us to gauge what is the how to trade that.
Okay.
In fact, when we talk about VIX, VIX is a lot of people don't know. VIX is used by many portfolio managers. It is not just that a retail investor looks at an India Vix number and decide upon the trade, but even portfolio managers and mutual fund managers, they look into this index and see that what it is conveying. They can look into increasing their exposure for high beta portfolio when the VIX has peaked out, and they can shift to a low beta stock when the VIX has bottomed out. Now,
Right.
this is something which we don't know. And silently, the mutual fund managers or the portfolio managers tend to do this exercise every now and then. Option sellers should acknowledge that the option prices are heavily dependent upon VIX, or let's say the implied volatility, which we call it in the case of stocks. And they tend to increase when the VIX is high. So I have bit of a summarized here for our viewers here, that what is and how VIX is important to gauge the market. When we talk about high VIX and rising, that means normally characterized by a falling market. Option prices tend to increase, especially the put prices tend to increase. And high VIX and falling, that's another character which says that it's a sideways and fall in the market has already happened. So that means option prices tend to decrease slightly.
One minute. When you're saying high VIX and rising, that means the VIX is rising, right?
Yes, correctly.
Not
That's
the market.
high VIX, not the market. No, sorry. High VIX and VIX rising. Let's call it that way. And high VIX and falling VIX. We will characterize that what is high VIX and what is low VIX, right? Falling and rising VIX is a trend, right? Let's understand this is just a trend. Now, third one which you are seeing is a very important, and that's nowadays which is prevailing. That is low VIX and falling. Best for a stable portfolio, trend in trading environment, no fear in the market, and it is good for option buying. And the fourth one, last, is low VIX and rising. That means we should be very careful with our portfolios. Stop losses may get hit. Fear is rising, and this is a worst time for an option seller.
When you say option seller, that means non-directional option sellers, right?
Correct. Non-directional option seller, or let's say even directional also. Let's say I have sold an option when the VIX was low, but suddenly the VIX has increased. That means either the call and put, both the prices will increase, right?
Right.
So that might tend to affect our profitability also.
Yes, returns will be lesser.
Returns will be lesser. So that means more important will be a role of decay or theta will come into picture, that what is our profit going to happen.
Right.
I've named this site as choose to trade wisely. It is important that what environment we are sitting in. And this is just an experience of last 7-8 years in the option market, which I have it. That's how I've characterized it. So when we say in the first category, when we say very high, that means we are talking of an environment which is 22 plus VIX, right?
Okay.
Now, this is not an ideal option trading environment, because either the war is going on, or let's say the COVID is there, or let's say somebody is going bankrupt, some big bank is going bankrupt, something is there which the fear is there. That gives us the fear factor, right? If you see VIX, which is a fear factor. And when the VIX is 22 plus, and this 22 is not a sacrosanct number that, okay, after 22.1 only that the VIX will be very high, but it is just a, I would say, a rough range or a draft range which is there for us. Now, this environment is not an ideal environment, I would say. I normally tend to avoid any trade, any short-term trade in this environment. When we talk about the next one, we are talking about high, which is normally an 18 to 22 as the range, which is characterized by a high VIX environment. This is perfect for an option seller. Let me honestly tell you, this is perfect for option seller. And the type of trade which can be initiated are normally the credit spreads. When I say credit spread, episode, we are talking about even iron condors also, because iron condor is a mix of put and call credit spread. So that's an ideal environment which can be traded. So when we talk about the high VIX category, 18 to 22, that is an ideal time for a option seller. But important point to note is that your profits will be higher when the VIX is falling. Even though
Right.
the VIX category is high, but it is important that it should be falling, right? And
Right.
that's an important environment where the credit spreads, iron condors, or let's say put credit spreads or the call credit spreads could be initiated. Now we have the third category, which is medium. Normally, market over a long period of time tends to be in this environment. That is sort of a bell curve which we have it from very high to ultra low category. So medium category is where normally the market tends to remain for a longer period of time. And again, I tend to be biased in terms of selling an option in this category also. And the credit spreads are the better instruments for this type of environment. What we should avoid, we should definitely avoid buying in this. When I say option buying should be avoided in this, because you don't know whether the VIX will increase from here or the delta environment will be suitable for you or not. So my type of trade, I would say it would be more to do with the sell options and that to credit spreads in this environment. The
Okay.
fourth one which we are talking about is low, which is 13 to 15 as the zone which we are talking about. This is an ideal environment for play in one direction. When I say play in one direction, that means, why I'm saying play in one direction, that means you can be long or you can be short, and you can buy call options of a high RS stocks. Now, when I say RS is there are enough videos which Definedge have actually available on the Definedge website, which tells you how to identify the relative strength stocks. Now, let's say in the current environment, you can say HDFC Bank, Larsen and Toubro, ICICI. These are some of the stocks which are high RS stocks, which are not falling even when the market is falling. That's how we categorize the relative strength stock. Now, in this type of environment, I would say we should initiate debit spreads for long dated expiry. When I say long dated, it can be, let's say, T plus 2 week, or it can be it can be monthly expiry. That's how you can do that. We should give the time for our trade in these type of environments. So debit spreads for a long dated expiry are the ideal instruments for this. uh, we should, what people tend to forget is that we should be looking at the VIX chart also along with the Nifty in this environment, because whenever there is a spike in VIX in this environment, I will show you the VIX chart after this slide, and
Yeah.
I will show you that how VIX will play a very important role whenever the VIX is high, and then you can initiate the selling opportunities, or let's say the sell options which you want to do in this type of environment. Ideally, we should avoid the selling in this environment. Now, fifth one is for normally a very short duration, but I don't know, but I can say that for last 10, 15 days or more than that, market is in the ultra low environment these days. Today, the VIX is almost 11.5, if I remember it. That's how the VIX
Yeah.
is. So anything less than 13, I would say that is an ultra low environment. Selling should be completely avoided. I'm not selling, to be honest. And what I'm interested is, again, buying calls or buying call options for let's say the index, or let's say for high RS stocks. And if you want to
Okay.
protect yourself, you can always use put as a hedge, right? In an ultra low environment, AP sir, it is normally ये environment तब आता है जब market के अंदर fear नहीं हो और वो एक smooth run से ऊपर जा रही हो. That's how this is an ultra low environment, and that is why I would say the more the money is made by buying option or buying future with a put hedge rather than selling option. We should not
Okay.
be sacrosanct with the thing that नहीं मुझे तो सिर्फ सेलिंग करनी है, मुझे बाइंग नहीं करनी, राइट? तो एनवायरनमेंट अपना चेक कीजिए, कौन सा एनवायरनमेंट है, और उस एनवायरनमेंट के हिसाब से आई थिंक वी कैन इनिशिएट अ ट्रेड.
Okay, so that was all about the theory part. So I believe you have some charts and examples as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is very, very important. I will go to the next one. Now, before I go to that, this is a VIX chart for a weekly. I hope you're able to see my mouse. This is almost a 3 years VIX chart which is there. And I've specially not shown the VIX chart for COVID time,
COVID.
because at
Yeah,
COVID it was it was crazy. It was
85.
80 plus value, right? We all remembered it. That was registered. That's the highest value. I think I haven't seen an 80 plus environment anywhere. That's how it was. But you can always see there are spikes even in this environment also. Very high
Yeah,
is where 22 plus. Now this is the type where uh, uh, very high environment is there. We should always look for falling wicks. That means this is the falling wicks, right? This is an ideal environment to sell the options. And
right,
this is again an ideal environment to sell the options. So identify the trend of a VIX. That's a very important. This will give you quick money.
right.
Although theta is going to play a role for you, but I can say that this can be a very important tool when you judge the environment here well. This is, I think, Ukraine war, which was there when the spike happened at around 30 plus, right, in
Yeah,
2021, I would say. And then currently we are in ultra low environment. Can you see? It is less than
yeah,
13, right? Now, these are the places where we should be very careful, because there is not much of the room for VIX to go down, right? That is why I would say look for, whenever the trend changes in the VIX direction, that's the first sign we should be careful that market is giving a topping sign. That's one. And at that time we should avoid again the selling, because that's a rising VIX chart, right? Rising VIX is not good for option sellers. It's good for option buying, but not good for option sellers. So that's where I would say an important VIX plays an important role here.
yeah,
I'm going to show you a VIX chart for uh, daily. Now, this is important because we know that VIX has been falling from weekly charts, right? But
yeah,
can you see in these falling VIX environment, there were sudden spikes which were available in the India Vix index, which was there, and these are the places where you should sell the options. Although the VIX is in 17 plus and it was momentarily, that is where you should sell the VIX. This is not the time. I'm saying less than 13 is not the period where you should be initiating the sell trades, right?
yeah,
So these are the spikes. Can all the circled one, if you see that, they all the spikes which are available in the India Vix chart, and I normally I would say tend to initiate the sell options whenever the Vix is on the higher increasing, and that's where it gives me a better value to sell that.
yeah. So basically,
So
when the VIX weekly is in a downtrend, the daily, whenever there is a daily spike, it should be used for sell on rise kind of setup.
absolutely, you're spot
Yeah,
on, sir. So, अब आप you can understand, sir, कि whenever let's say somebody has initiated a trade on this red arrow, which is less than 11, right? And in next 5 days, the VIX goes to 17 plus, right? And he's an option
yeah,
seller.
right.
Although that will come to play to rescue him, but the VIX will give him the trouble, right? The volatility will give him the trouble because prices will tend to increase,
Yeah,
and our MTM will also increase.
yeah,
That's how it is. So these are the important environments which we should be looking, especially for the VIX chart. Uh, I'm coming to a point where we are going to explain we can do buying options. So when we are saying buying option, that's basically a debit spread trade, or where buying is a characterized by a debit and selling is characterized by a credit, I would say. So buying options is an environment, as we have seen it in the past. Buying options should be done in the low and ultra low environment, right? We always see that, right? This is the ideal time, and since now the VIX is 11.5 something, and there is no sign of increase as of now, so I tend to look for a buying options in this environment.
Okay.
What my rule, I've designed some rules on that, on in terms of buying, and as you said, I'm a big fan of noiseless charts, and I use Renko 1% uh, for, especially for the option charts, option values, and use the triple moving average as a trend tool to identify whether the trend is in buy environment or not. So the important point is the all moving averages should be aligned. That means I will show you the chart also. But what are the rules? So rules are, I will plot it on the Renko 1%. All moving averages should be aligned. That means 20 days moving average, 30 days and 40 days. So it's perfectly aligned, 20 greater than 30 greater than 40. Once this is done, then I will look to buy the trade for which strike. Now, strike selection is an important, and this is where I would say many people, I have seen even the professional traders also sometimes making a mistake. We should not be looking for buying something like 30 delta as a strike. We should always look for ITM strikes. That means 70 plus delta, which is an ideal, and this is where we should buy it. Buying 30 delta is a disaster in a buying environment, I would say, because they tend to decay and we will not get anything out of it actually.
Correct.
So we buy it at the brick reversal above the moving average. Whenever there is a brick reversal, I will show you that in the chart. Whenever there is a brick reversal, we should buy it, and we should sell as soon as there is a swing breakdown. It is not that I'm in this buying environment for a long and it is a monthly trade, and maybe after 1 month I have to see it. After let's say another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if there is a swing breakdown, I will show you that what is swing breakdown, and then I can exit it. And my stop loss is hardly 3 to 5% in this category.
3 to 5% on the option.
On the option, yes. On the option, and upside is unlimited. Option, there is no option of it can go to 30%, it can go to 50% also. So option is upside is completely uncapped, and that is why you get a very good risk reward. Although sometimes there could be a more trading, I would say, which could happen, but the risk reward is completely in your favor, AP sir, when you look into these type of trade. Also, I just don't want to forget here that buying option is a very short-lived trade. मतलब इसमें ये नहीं है कि हम मंथली लेके बैठे हैं और 1 मंथ के बाद अपनी पोजीशन देखनी है for that. So you have to see that bit often to see that whether the trend is still in your favor or not. So it's a short-lived trade. Profits will vanish quickly.
It is basically only riding the momentum. That's all. Once the momentum dies, just get out.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's a completely momentum based. This is option chart, option chain, which I've taken a screenshot from OPSTRA. Now, if you see, this was a couple of days back when I took this slide. But at that time, the market was at somewhere around 17,600, which is an ATM, if you can see. And at that time, 17,500 and 17,450 or 400 were the strikes which I was looking to buy. Can you see delta at somewhere around 70 plus here in all these categories? Now, this is where I normally tend to buy the option. I will open the charts for these strike prices only.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I have to sell or let's say if I have to make an option debit spread out of it, then I will look to sell somewhere around 30 delta or even 20 delta. That's where I will tend to sell it, right? That's where I tend to play the 70 delta as a buying one and around 20-25 delta as the sell leg, because that gives you enough momentum to capture,
Right.
maybe in a week, maybe in a month.
Correct.
And same goes with the put side also. Uh, Although in the low VIX environment, we should not be buying puts because that's not the direction which is normally characterized again. But if we have to buy puts, we should look at for again 70 delta here and look for around 30 delta as the sell leg. That's how it is. So this is a typical example of how a Renko chart looks in trade point or in R zone, which we have it. Now, if you see in the first red arrow, there is a change in the trend because moving averages were aligned. This was somewhere around 440 types. Let's forget this is call or a put. More important is how should we trade. That's the important part I want to highlight here. So in the first arrow, which I say change in trend, this is the place where I recognized that this strike price is now in buying momentum, right? This is the first place I identified this is a buying momentum. Whenever the momentum has been identified and we can initiate, let's say 50% of our trade here in this zone itself, right?
Yeah.
Let's try to have only 50% or even maybe 25%, because I'm not a big fan of increasing the volumes in first go. So this is the place where I take the first entry. And whenever there is a brick reversal, I hope you are able to see two red, and after that there is a blue one which is there. This is characterized as a brick reversal which is there in the Renko chart. Excellent tool which tells you when the market has reversed, which any trader should look into for buying the option. So this is where I tend to buy it, and I ride it till the time there are three red bricks in one direction, three or more red bricks in one direction. That's where I book my profits. So if you see here, if you see the 3-bar reversal happened here, this is where I will book my profits, and this is a good profit, right? We bought it at somewhere around 500 and we sold at around 670, something like that. But let's be in trend again, and immediately when I sold it, again there was a buy trade, right?
Yeah.
So as you always say that trade is just a what do you say that it's just a brokerage away, right? A new trade is just a brokerage away.
Re-entry is just a brokerage away.
Re-entry is just a brokerage away. So that's how I principally do that. It's here again. I bought this again somewhere around 670 types, and 3 bricks reversal happened here at 785, and that's where I exited. Now this is the ideal environment for any option buying.
Just for the sake of people who don't know, these 20, 30 and 40 moving averages are on Renko charts, and they are basically on the basis of the last 20 bricks. It's not a daily or a 5-minute kind of average, because these are plotted on a 1-minute time frame, and 20 is the last 20 bricks average, 30 is the last 30 bricks average, 40 is the last 40 bricks average. So 20, 30, 40 is based on the number of bricks and not number of not time frame or anything like that. So just to clarify. And another thing is, all these charts are freely available on TradePoint, like you said, on desktop TradePoint or on the web zone terminal. As long as you have a demat account with Definedge securities, these are freely available. Yeah, go ahead.
So this was how to do the trading. So this was a setup which was there. I'm giving you some live examples which I did that recently. This is Bank Nifty 27th April 41,500 call. It's bit in the lower fonts, but you can always see that here. So this was sometime back when Bank Nifty started its move, the change in it was 70 delta call, which when I identified it, right? On that day, there was a change in the trend at around 375 levels. I took 50% of my trade at 375, and I again topped out my balance 50% at 400 types level, because there was a brick reversal. If you can see the second arrow, which is there, buy at 400, that's where I took my 50% of the entry. I exited this trade at 550. So you can see 375 plus 400 and exited at 550.
Yeah, just to clarify, when you entered the first lot at 370, the stop loss was 3 red bricks, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 3 red brick whenever that happens. So that means my stop loss will not be more than 3%, and then you can add some slippages. Definitely there would be there. So that's why I say 3 to 5% is my first.
What is meant by 3 red bricks is the brick size is 1%. So when you say 3 bricks, that is 3%. So of course there will be some slippage. So you can say the risk is 3 to 5%. Of course, not less than 3, because it is already 3 bricks minimum. So maybe 4 to 5 on an option premium is the risk he's taking. Yeah.
Yes. So we exited at 550. And then again, there was a re-entry which was there at 550 again, right? If you see, the brick reversal happened at 550, and this brick reversal is happening above the moving averages, right?
Right.
And from 550, the trade went to 830.
Right.
You can see what percentage profit we are talking about. This was not more than, I think, 2 days, which was their maximum, where we got this 830 value. And 830, we exited this option. We again bought it at 690. Can you see the brick reversal happened near the moving averages? It happened at 40 days moving averages. That's where I bought it at 690 again. And there was no 3 brick reversals which happened, and it happened at 980, somewhere line 980 types. So again, buying at 690, selling at 980, right?
Yeah, just to be clear, right now, of course, you're talking about end of April, so that's why it is anyway monthly options. But do you do this on weekly options? Let's say in the first couple of weeks, or it's always monthly?
No, it is. We can do that in the weekly options also.
Yeah. Okay.
But important point is that we should identify the trend and exit whenever there is an exit. It's a rule-based strategy, and rules are more important here.
Correct.
So I normally tend to work it. I don't take my trades after Tuesday or Wednesday for the same expiry, because there are only 2 days or 3 days left. So I tend to go to the next month, next week in that particular environment, or maybe I can go to the monthly one, because this is a buying environment, not a selling one.
And I think this will be more very well suited for trading Bank Nifty, because you get trends of 500, 700 points on Bank Nifty quite regularly.
बिल्कुल सर बिल्कुल आपने इसी ट्रेड में देखा, देखिए 550 we bought it and sold at 830. Hardly a matter of maybe a day where we are able to trade this, and the setup is clean, right? There is nothing else to see. All moving averages are aligned. That is one. The environment is right. That means VIX is less than ultra low VIX environment mein hai, and that is where the buying should be done. So all I would say things are in place for us to trade this.
Yeah.
And last, I just wanted to highlight that the failed trade also. So we bought it at 900 again. If you can see the last one, we bought it at 900, but we exited at the 3 big reversal. Can you see? There was a profit for a couple of bars, but after that there was a reversal, and we have to exit at 850. And after 850, the moving averages were not aligned. Can you see? We are out, and even the moving averages are now telling us that this is not the right time to look for anything.
Yeah, so basically what happens is, whenever the market, the underlying goes into a slight sideways phase, you are automatically thrown out of your position.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, this is 17,000 call option 27th April. Again, if you can see, this is the place where the first green arrow, which you can see somewhere around 788 plus, where the trade is initiated when the moving averages are aligned, and at 876 type of levels where the 3 brick reversal happened and we are out of trade.
Okay.
So this was intraday actually.
Okay.
This was intraday. And again, somewhere around 832 levels, we bought this call, 27th April, and I think it has already expired now. So this is already 1000 plus, which is, it has expired. So that's how it is.
Yeah.
The option buying is a I would say a very fruitful instrument, but provided we know when to trade, what is the environment, and what type of instruments which we should do that.
Right.
This trade is currently on. I'm already in this trade. 17,000 25th May call, which is there.
Why 17,000, which is so deep in the money now? Or you have
Sir,
taken it earlier, much earlier?
I get you. I say my tendency is that I am actually looking to buy options rather than buying future. Right.
Okay.
That is why I'm looking for deep in the money calls. Also, you can 70 delta and 80 delta, they are the perfect one. We can always do that. But if you want to have, let's say, as good as futures available, so you can look for deep in the money calls also.
Yeah,
And
that is
even
the
though
one strategy. Agree. Yeah.
yeah. So even in the deep, or you will also agree, AP sir, that expenses are also on the bit lower side for the calls of the options, right? So that's another factor which favors us, although that's very small. So that is why I'm looking for. So the important point is, don't compromise on delta part, because that's where many people tend to make mistake. It should be at least 70 delta when you're going to buy any strike price which is there.
Okay.
So these are
this will work on stocks also as well, right?
absolutely same. I will show you the example where this is working. This is Coal India, as you said. Now this was the first green arrow. This was the place where we should be initiating the calls, the buying of the calls, right? This is one back, right, which we call it in the Renko chart, and these are very, very profitable strategies which are there. Even in the scanning, we are able to identify that what are the one back which are available for the deep in the money, or let's say in the money call option for any instrument which we are looking for.
Right.
So this is 17, somewhere around 17.5, which I bought it for 2010 27th April call, and I sold it at around 23
210.
210, sorry, 210, and I sold it at around 22.5 in a matter of hardly 2 days actually. So, and once the environment was against, can you see all the red bricks? This kept me out of trade. So I was completely out. And even when the buying started in this environment, when the buying started, my moving averages were not aligned. Can you see this?
Yeah.
And let's see when the moving averages got back. This is the place where the moving averages got back, and we were out at the same level.
Right.
बहुत rarely होता है एपी सर कि भाई ट्रेड लो और वो नुकसान ना जाए, even though the market was reversed from the point where we bought it. So these are the type of trades which can definitely helpful here. Properties है a lagging effect of the moving averages, that's being used here. Right. हम बोलते हैं कि moving averages are lagging, so we are using the lagging effect ना, यहाँ पर lagging effect आ रहा है, and that is why we are out of the trade. So this is Coal India. this is another very good example of ICICI 850 call 27th April.
Okay.
Right now, this is the first place, the first green where we can initiate, let's say, the 50% of our quantities. You can always see, AP sir, I'm looking for in the money calls. This was when I would say ICICI Bank was trading at around 870 or 880 types level. This was the place where I initiated it. And it was in the money somewhere around 70, 75 delta when I initiated it. 50% were initiated at around 46. These are liquid options.
Yeah.
Right, ICICI Coal India, these are all liquid options, and there is a instrument which is available, right, in the liquid options in the trade point. So that's also a very good place to identify which are the liquid instruments. So I exited here at around 51 and re-entered at 49 again, exited at 61, re-entered at 59, and exited today actually.
Wow. The three great trades in a matter of 1 week.
Just three great trades. और आप देखिए इसमें हमने कोई बड़ा सेटअप अपना सिंपल रखा है सर. मूविंग एवरेजेस रखा है, चार्ट में सारा वाइट वाइट है, कुछ नहीं दिखता. इट्स क्लीन चार्ट विच इज देयर. नॉर्मली मैंने देखे चार्ट्स बहुत ही वी टेंड टू ऐड मेनी इंडिकेटर्स इन द चार्ट्स एंड ऑल दैट, बट जस्ट सी द chart and all that, we are able to identify when to trade, right? So
right.
This is, I say 850 call. This is Bank Nifty 41,500 call 27th April. Again, this is in the money. इसमें आप देखिए मोमेंटम बहुत ज्यादा हमारी फेवर में नहीं था, बट स्टिल वी वर इन प्रॉफिट. दिस इज फर्स्ट ग्रीन arrow is where we entered. Red, we exited. Again, we entered in green, exited red. Again, we entered in green, exited red. But whenever the profit happens, the profits are quite good. But whenever the losses are there, they are small in number.
So this is a very good method to identify. I mean, automatically it identifies because of the rules. It automatically keeps you in the trade only when there is momentum. When the momentum dies, you are out of the trade, and you don't. Then there is normally what happens is people take a trade based on some momentum, and they don't realize that the momentum is gone. Then that trade becomes a trade of hope. Oh, इसमें होता नहीं है, because automatically you are out because there is a exit rule also.
Absolutely. Or just see that whenever the moving averages are aligned, that's how the momentum will be in your favor. If the moving averages are not aligned, the momentum is not in the favor and the trade cannot be initiated. And 3 brick is where it's my rule, I would say. If you have anyone has a deep pocket, they can look for more bricks, but I tend to get out at 3 bricks. That's how I have identified myself. 3% is where I feel comfortable in exiting any trade. Because आप देखिए पीक से भी हम approximately 5% के ऊपर होंगे AP sir if when we exit.
And 5% in options is nothing.
Yes, 5% is nothing, and 5% of stop loss is also nothing.
Correct.
मतलब आप देखिए स्टॉप लॉस भी 5% के करीब है, और हाई पॉइंट से हमारा जो पॉइंट सेलिंग पॉइंट है दैट इज आल्सो 5%. So that's how it is there.
So everywhere it is a 1% brick, right?
Everything sir, all 1%.
Okay.
और 1% आई थिंक आप ही ने किसी वेबिनार में बताया था, आपने या प्रशांत ने बताया था वेबिनार में कि 1% and 3% are the ideal environment for the or ideal brick sizes for the calls and puts, right? That's how it was there. So 3% थोड़ा सा लैगिंग हो जाता है उसमें. So that's how I पहले मैंने 3% को भी शिफ्ट करके देखा था कि 3% को यूज करें, because I am not full time into the trading, so that's why I tend to use a higher brick values. So then I shifted more to the 1% because that's how it suited.
People might remember we had done a series on Renko charts between Raju and me, and almost in every episode I had talked about something called a Swadanusar. So when he says 1%, that is what he has developed his system on 1%. I'm sure people will ask 2% क्यों नहीं, 1.5% क्यों नहीं, 3% क्यों नहीं. So that is a system which one has to develop as per his own risk appetite and as per his own trading style, because every person has a different trading style, and every pocket size is different, account size is different, so risk is different. So that you have to develop yourself. What he does is basically on 1%.
एंड इसमें सर ऐसा नहीं है कि एवरीथिंग इज वेरी रोजी, बट पॉइंट इज हमारा स्टॉप लॉस क्लीन है, दैट वी आर आउट एट 5%. दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर मी.
So yeah, what it means is there might be some trade where you get stopped out maybe in consecutive 4, 5, 6 trade, but those are all very small stop loss. And when you get momentum, then all that loss is wiped out in a single trade.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly which is there. और इसके लिए एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है सर कि ये मंथली जनरेटर नहीं है, ये मंथली इनकम जनरेटर नहीं है जो नॉर्मली ऑप्शन सेलर environment ढूंढते हैं. This is not a monthly generator, right? This is a trade. This is a type of a trade which is even good for a stocks, which is good for even any instrument which has liquidity. And these setups, if you see, this setup is valid for even stock buying also. आप 1% के ऊपर स्टॉक को भी यूज करके देखिए, उसको भी any brick reversal you buy it and 3 bricks you exit. That's a fantastic one to look for, even for the stock buying also.
Yeah.
I have a selling option which is there, which is important. Although the selling option is right now bit avoided, but I have some rules for the selling options. So we can plot it on Renko 1%, same environment, everything same. Triple moving averages. In this, it's completely different. That means 20 less than 30 less than 40. Now, sorry, this is not buying strike. This is selling strikes. So selling strikes, again, at that time we were looking for 70 delta. Here we should look for 30 delta, right?
Okay.
Sell whenever there is a brick reversal near the moving averages. Exit at the swing breakout above the high price. Same profit booking, 3 buying bricks और a bullish swing breakout. Sir, इसमें एक छोटा सा change है क्योंकि selling option is a slow process and let's not be in a hurry to book the profit. That is why I have added a term here. Either you can book it at the 3 buying break or you can look for a bullish swing breakout. Now, in selling option, my thinking is if you have entered right, 75% of job is done.
Correct.
You don't need to do anything after that.
Yes.
This is the selling environment which is there. आप देखिए, this is Nifty 41, Bank Nifty 41,000 put. So 380 के ऊपर हमने पहले आइडेंटिफाई किया change in trend. We initiated the sell trade around 350 and then profit booking at 320. Again initiated at 325 and then the last green break where we are able to have a swing breakout. That's where we are able to get the full potential of it. And
correct.
You can see in the top in the choppy environment, you will not have much of the losses in this environment.
Yeah.
So this is all about selling. Again, the same type of rules. Falling moving averages 20 less than 30 less than 40. You can see moving averages are trending down. 40 is always higher than 30. 30 is higher than 20. We initiate the trade at the box. Can you see the big reversal whenever it happens? So all the red arrows which you can see, that's where we initiated the trade. And most of, I would say, all the trades were profitable here.
Yeah.
Option selling में तो इनफैक्ट ये बहुत अच्छा एनवायरनमेंट मिलता, पर आजकल एनवायरनमेंट नहीं है. अगेन क्योंकि हमारा विक्स कम है, इसीलिए मैं ऑप्शन सेलिंग रिकमेंड नहीं कर रहा. बट लेट्स से व्हेन वी गो बैक टू 15, 16, 18 environment, then these charts are absolutely helpful.
Yeah, so these are basically quick in and quick out trades. So the people might think that this is a scalping type, but this is not scalping. This is a completely rule-based trade where, in fact, the returns are also quite good. Like he showed, even in buying the returns are good, even in selling the returns are good. So it looks like scalping, but sometimes it might be even few hours also.
Yes, absolutely, sir. और
Yeah, and on a trending day, you might get a whole day, like what you are seeing right now. On a trending day, it might be the full day where it goes on continuously.
Yeah, this is live example, sir. 17,800 put. Although मैं ये 17,800 put advise नहीं करूंगा क्योंकि हम ultra low VIX environment में हैं to sell that. But just see that theta has played out so big that any brick reversal we are able to sell that, and then we sold at around 43. कोई look back ही नहीं है, sir. There is no look back.
Correct.
Right, and this is the property which is used by the Renko chart, noiseless chart, I would say, that helps to identify and get into the right trades.
Yeah.
So just to summarize, which is more important, this is the most important slide. Choose your trade wisely. Identify your VIX category, which we are currently into that, and based upon the VIX category, we should trade in that type of option. That's how I do that, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Ankush, and it was a brilliant session where it is completely rule based. So there is nothing like discretion or मैंने ये सुना है WhatsApp पे ये आया है market गिरने वाला है बढ़ने वाला है. It is completely rule based. Just identify the trend. Just ensure that the moving averages are all in sync with each other, like he explained, and then follow the rules for buying and exit. And I'm sure you will be able to also replicate his trades. And thank you again, Ankush, and it was a very good session. So we hope you like this video. Do subscribe to our channel, like this video, and also share it. Thank you.
Thank you.